Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a cabin, really secluded, deep in the woods. It's often the symbol of peace, right? An escape, a sanctuary. But what happens when that quiet place, that retreat, becomes the backdrop for something? Well, something deeply unsettling or truly terrifying.
Yeah, and today we're taking a deep dive into some of those exact situations. We're looking at real accounts, actual investigations, where these isolated spots turned into scenes of profound mystery or just unspeakable horror.
Right.
Our goal is really to sift through the details, try to pinpoint the questions that still hang in the air, and maybe understand why these stories stick with us so much.
Because these aren't just, spooky stories you tell around a campfire. No, these are source narratives. They make you look closer at the kind of darkness that can sometimes settle in the most peaceful seeming places. So let's start with this really weird inheritance story. Picture this. There's someone totally estranged from their uncle, blames him for his father's death even. Then the uncle dies in 2015 and a letter shows up. No money, nothing like that, just a key to a safety deposit box way up in Augusta, Maine. And here's the twist, the lawyer handling it. His payment is inside the box too. He can't even tell the narrator what's going on.
That's quite a setup. Creates this odd incentive, doesn't it?
It does. And the narrator, they really didn't want to dig up the past, worked hard to leave it behind. But in the end, it was this morbid curiosity, as they put it, that made them go.
What's fascinating here is it's not just an inheritance. It feels more like a psychological prod from the uncle. Inside that box, no treasure, just a wad of cash for the attorney.
Right.
And for the narrator. Accordance. And 3 words.
Burn it all.
Chilling. Just burn it all.
It immediately throws the narrator into guessing, right? Theorizing about dangerously illegal or mestingly immoral things, as they said. It's this final controlling act from this reclusive uncle, forcing the nephew to confront whatever the secret was. So they make the journey out to this remote spot in the Debsconiag Lakes wilderness area, Maine. And as they get deeper into the woods, things start feeling off, unsettling.
How so?
They start seeing these fungi everywhere, like an unusual amount. First, this brain fungus is Gyrometra esculenta. Apparently, it looks like beef mince in a brain, just grotesque. And then, even creepier, these devil's tooth mushrooms. They look like a bloody human tissue. Apparently, they even have anticoagulant properties.
Wow.
And the narrator realized they were following the smell, this weird, sickly, sweet smell, and these mushrooms, straight to the cabin.
Wow. So the path was literally marked by these disturbing things.
Yeah, imagine walking towards that.
That immediately creates this sense of dread, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And the cabin itself, when they found it, covered in the same fungus, giving off this pungent, almost stewed meat smell, but with a sickly, rotten taint.
Just foul.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, the narrator is now standing there with this dilemma. Do they just obey the note? Burn the place down without looking? Or do they risk everything, their sanity maybe, to see what's inside? Plus, the risk of fumes, right? Whatever was in there could be highly flammable.
Yeah, a dangerous choice. But curiosity, or maybe this weird sense of obligation to the uncle, it won out. They risked a look, just a brief, horrifying peek inside. Extreme humidity hit them first, like a sauna, but sickening. And this huge pot on a stove boiling away, connected by these arterial little tubes pumping vapor through the whole cabin.
Arterial tubes, good grief.
The whole scene looked like a mashup of a drug factory and some mad scientist lab. Books everywhere, but all soggy and moldy. Strange drawings, indecipherable pictograms. The fumes were overwhelming, made them physically sick almost instantly.
There was a sound too, wasn't there?
Yeah, this repulsive intestinal hum just made their skin crawl. It's just this complete sensory assault. You can't help but wonder what kind of madness was cooking in there, totally isolated from the world.
So faced with that, they decided to burn it.
They did, set it ablaze. A desperate act, really, to just erase whatever it was.
And they described hearing something as it burned. They swore they heard the screams of that fungus.
Ugh, that's haunting.
Absolutely. It left them with these huge, unanswerable questions, haunted by the uncle's final, bizarre act. And it serves as this weird kind of folk warning now, doesn't it? If you're near Debsconiag Lakes and see way too many of those brain or tooth mushrooms, maybe just turn around.
Okay, let's shift gears now. From something bizarre and maybe supernatural to something tragically, chillingly human. This takes us back to July 1976. The Robinson family. Dick, Shirley, and their 4 kids, wealthy family vacationing at their cottage in Somerset near Lake Michigan. Looks like the perfect summer retreat, right?
It's certainly seen that way on the surface, an idyllic picture.
Yeah.
But underneath, especially concerning Dick Robinson, there were
Well,
problems.
yeah. Like what?
Significant financial issues, for one. Erratic bank accounts, money troubles he was trying to hide, and his personal life, particularly as an advertising agency, it was troubled. High turnover among female staff because of what was described as a creepy and lecherous atmosphere. Bizarre requests made of him.
So, not so perfect after all.
Not at all. And this raises an important question.
Yeah.
How often does that perfect facade, especially in affluent families, hide something really dark? It makes you wonder about these isolated retreats.
Well, about a month after they arrived at the cottage, that facade just crumbled. A caretaker went to check on the place after neighbors complained about a really bad smell. He had to force his way in. The cottage was locked up tight.
And the scene inside.
It was horrific. The heating was turned up full blast in July, accelerating everything. He found all 6 bodies: Shirley, Dick, 12-year-old Randall, 7-year-old Susan, and 16-year-old Gary. All murdered, brutally. .25 caliber pistol, .22 rifle, and blunt force trauma.
Just devastating. And the forensics, they painted a picture of cold calculation, didn't they?
They did. Only one set of bloody footprints found, suggesting a single killer.
Right. And this person hadn't just killed them. They'd drawn the curtains, turned up the heat deliberately, even covered a broken window with cardboard.
It points to someone methodical, someone who knew what they were doing, experienced maybe.
Exactly. Not a crime of passion, it seems. More like a planned execution. An assassination, almost.
So the investigation naturally started looking at people connected to Dick Robinson, and they quickly zeroed in on a guy named Joseph Scalero. 30 years old, ex-soldier, worked at Robinson's ad agency.
And the evidence against him seemed pretty strong.
Very. He'd been embezzling a lot of money from the company. He'd recently bought guns, a .25 pistol and a .22 rifle, the same calibers used in the murders.
Okay, that's significant.
And shell casings matching those at the crime scene, found at his father-in-law's firing range. Plus, he failed multiple polygraph tests.
It seems like an open and shut case, almost.
You'd think so, but here's where it gets perplexing. In March 1973, Scalero found out charges were coming, that he was about to be arrested, and he killed himself.
Oh, wow.
Left a note, and in the note he said, "I am a liar, but not a murderer."
A liar, but not a murderer. That throws doubt on everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What's fascinating and deeply unsettling here is that persistent doubt. Despite all the circumstantial evidence pointing his way, his final words proclaimed innocence of the murders.
Yeah.
It leaves this awful possibility lingering, that the person who killed the entire Robinson family actually got away with it, that this horrific act in this peaceful setting remains, truly unpunished. The case is still officially open in Michigan, but inactive, a cold case.
Just hangs there. Okay, one more story for this deep dive. Another tragedy, another cabin. This one takes us to Ketty, a small community in the Sierra Nevada mountains, April 1981. The Ketty cabin murders. The Sharp family, Sue Sharp and her kids, were living in cabin 28. They'd moved there seeking refuge, trying to escape an abusive past, looking for peace.
And instead, they found unimaginable horror. What's truly awful here is the discovery. Sue's 14-year-old daughter, Sheila, she'd been at a sleepover next door. She came home the next morning.
And found them.
Found her mother, her older brother John, and John's friend Dana in the living room. They were bound with electrical tape and appliance wire, gagged, brutally murdered with knives and a hammer.
Horrific violence.
The details are gruesome. A bent knife found at the scene, an imprint from a BB gun pellet on Sue's head, the specific injuries.
Yeah.
It was savage. But there was also this immediate mystery. No sign of forced entry. The curtains were drawn shut. The phone was off the hook.
Suggesting they knew their killer, let them in.
That was the police theory, yes. And maybe even more chilling, Sue's 12-year-old daughter, Tina, was missing, vanished.
So a horrific crime scene and a missing child. The investigation must have been intense.
It was, but plagued with problems early on. They logged 4,000 man-hours, but theories were dismissed. Leads went cold. There were conflicting accounts from another boy, Justin Smart, a friend who was staying over the cabin with his younger brother. He initially claimed he hadn't seen anything. Later, under hypnosis, he said he saw 2 men, mentioned his stepfather, Martin Smart, and a friend, Bo Betty, and saw Tina being taken away. But hypnosis testimony is often unreliable.
Right.
And then the agonizing wait. It took 3 years. 3 years before Tina's partial skull and some other bones were found, over 100 miles away in Butte County.
God, 3 years of not knowing. That's torture for a family.
Absolutely. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it really shows how slow and difficult cold case work can be. But it also shows how new information years later can change everything.
Like what happened here?
Well, fast forward to 2008, a documentary comes out. And Justin Smart's mother, Marilyn Martin Smart's wife, she makes some claims. She suspected her husband Martin and his friend Bo Belbedy all along. Said she woke up early that morning, found them burning something unknown in the stove. Mentioned Martin hated John Sharp.
Suspicions from within the family.
Then, a big development in 2016. Investigators searched a local pond and found a hammer. It matched the description of a hammer Martin Smart had reported missing around the time of the murders. Police stated it looked like it was intentionally put there.
Wow. Decades later, the potential murder weapon surfaces.
Exactly. And then even more recently, perhaps the most damning part.
Martin Smart apparently confessed some details to a counselor.
A confession.
Allegedly, yes. He admitted killing Sue and admitted killing Tina, saying it was because she'd witnessed everything and could identify him. But he apparently denied killing the two boys, John and Dana.
So, a partial confession, but still huge. This raises the crucial question. Is this finally it? Is closure near? And then the latest breakthrough in 2018, DNA.
From the original crime scene.
Yes, from a piece of tape used to bind one of the victims. They managed to get a profile, and it matched a known living suspect. Authorities haven't named the suspect publicly yet, but it could be the key.
So after all these years,
It might finally be resolved. But you have to wonder, what dark, disturbing implications, as the investigators put it, might the full truth reveal about what happened in Cabin 28 that night?
So what does this all mean? When we look at these stories together, the weird fungus cabin, the Robinsons, the Sharps, it seems clear that isolation, the very thing people seek in these cabins, it cuts both ways, doesn't it? It can offer peace, sure, but it can also hide the absolute worst kinds of secrets and acts, leaving these echoes, these questions that just don't go away.
I think that's right. And our fascination, it's not just about the violence itself. It's the unanswered questions. It's the idea of a sanctuary being violated. That stark, awful contrast between beautiful natural settings and really ugly human depravity. That's what makes these stories burrow under your skin, I think. They force us to confront the idea that darkness can bloom anywhere, even in the quiet places.
Maybe these deep dives, looking into these hidden histories of places that seem so tranquil, maybe they're a reminder, a chilling reminder, that sometimes the real horror isn't just hiding in the shadows of the trees. It's in the truths we haven't uncovered yet, the dark intentions people carry, the secrets that just refuse to stay buried, even out there in the most remote corners of the world. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. We hope it gave you something to think about, maybe something to explore further on your own. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.